Join us as we address some of the craziest and most misleading urban legends about the Stadia gaming platform to date. See as 3 crazy myths about Stadia exposed. It's SDO Daily, baby. Let's get into this one. What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? It is your boy MM2K back on a rainy, thunderous, rocking and rolling afternoon with this one. I don't know if y'all can hear that in the background, but y'all know how it goes here. I'm one take Moss. We just keep on rolling. But with that said, welcome to SDO Daily. I am MM2K. And we're doing this on behalf of the Stadia Dosage platform. Do us a huge favor before we get into this one. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, rock those bells for notifications, please, so you know when your boy's dropping these doses. We appreciate all of y'all. Straight up, y'all know the deal, y'all know the reason, and by now, y'all should definitely know the slogan. We are not too proud to ask. Let's get into this one. All right, so here's the deal, y'all. During the early years of the Stadia gaming platform, there have been 2 constants. 1, not too many people know about it, which is a good thing because of 2, the media simply hates it. Now, this media hate has trickled down to a good number of fellow hardcore gamers. These are gamers, though, who could help spread factual awareness of the platform, good or bad, to other fellow gamers. So those fellow gamers can make educated decisions that suits their needs. However, the media hate has been so profound that it's already rendered a lot of those hardcore gamers' decisions already, even without them having touching the Stadia platform at all. Therefore, leaving fellow gamers factually clueless about what the platform could potentially offer them. So let's focus on these myths behind all this hate, then talk about why, where is it coming from? So with no further ado, let's get into it. Myth number 1, Stadia announced recently that it's going fully white label. Okay, so this is one of the easiest and one of the funnest ones to debunk. That's why I have it first, because it's something that happened recently. And man, oh man, oh man, the people that tried to spin this one, boy, did they trip all over themselves with this attempt. All right, so here's what's going on, just to provide you a little backdrop. Back in February of 2021, February 1st to be exact, Stadia announced that they were going to stop their in-house gaming attempt because they really haven't released anything from their in-house studios. They said, we're going to stop that attempt. It's too early in the game for us right now. This platform is lacking games. And every time we go to our consumers or target demos or just poll anybody, the number one thing that keeps popping up, it's not exclusives, it's not prettier colors, it's not a partner deal with Xbox and Game Pass. It's we want the big AAA multiplats, or we want the big ticket games on here. The same multiplats that we can play elsewhere, Stadia, you need those first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? And Stadia realized that, hey, building games is expensive. There's no guarantee there. But at the very least, if we got the games that people want to play, the Call of Duties, the Battlefields, the Overwatches, stuff like that, and we can hurry up and get those on here, and we already see that they're successful elsewhere, when you combine the power of Stadia, the portability, the ease of use, and all the great stuff that it adds to a gaming experience to these favorite games, then it might cause a lot of people to turn their heads and say, this is a great way to game. It did it for Cyberpunk 2077. That really helped put on the map what Stadia was capable of. So with the success that they saw on their end with Cyberpunk 2077, Stadia then said, you know what? I think that we're going too far. We're biting off more than we can chew, trying at this juncture, at the early years of trying to build exclusive content where we're really not at that level yet. We're not a premier platform. We got to first and foremost get the basic multiplats that people want to play, right? So that was the long version of the SG&E letter. But the short version that a lot of people try to twist and make fall into existence is that they are closing down Stadia because of it, even though they've spoken to the contrary several times over. They even recently had a Stadia keynote where they talk about key deals and activity with devs and publishers that are going into 2023 and beyond. We'll get into that later. However, you know how we do, and if you don't, let me show you something. In reference to that SG&E letter that I spoke about, or the SG&E closure rather, there was a letter behind it that head of Stadia Phil Harrison sent out. All right, and in that letter he explains in so many words what I just said about why they closed down SG&E so early and how they were refocusing their efforts. All right, and there's a big old hand right here that points to February 1st, 2021. Very important. Pay close attention to that. So we're going to go into this specific part right here because this was in the letter as well. In 2021, we're expanding our efforts to help game developers and publishers take advantage of our platform, technology, and deliver games directly to their players. We see an important opportunity to work with partners seeking a gaming solution all built on Stadia's advanced technical infrastructure and platform tools. We believe this is the best path to building Stadia into a long-term sustainable business that helps grow the industry. Pay very close attention to that. Fast forward to this whole white labeling myth where people are now like, oh, Stadia put out a job description, and in the job description they're talking about creating a platform for other people to use, so that means they're going to sell their pieces off. One publication had the audacity to put out there that they were piecemealing Stadia. Like it was some type of new news and something to spell out their doom, that they said they would offer their tech to other people that maybe wanted to start their own streaming platform. Kind of like what Amazon did with AWS, right? They created AWS, but it wasn't called that at first. It was just a tool that was used for Amazon's purposes. And then Amazon realized, hold on, we can really market this thing. And therefore AWS came, and even more specific to Luna. If you want to have your own streaming channel, quote unquote, go see Amazon, load up your games to Luna, and you can pretty much in essence have your own streaming service within the Amazon UI, but it's the same difference, right? Well, let's look at this infamous job description that caused all this heartache. Remember what I just read you from all the way to February of 2021? Here's what this job description says that came out in June 30th to be exact, of 2021. In addition to building our own video game platform, we see an important opportunity to make our infrastructure and tools available to partners who want to build their own interactive streaming platforms. Our goal is to build a long-term sustainable business that helps grow the industry across gaming and other interactive streaming applications. Sounds very similar to what we see here, right? But and even more solid that they're working on their own. They put in addition to building our own. But the rabid Stadia haters ran to the fields and said, oh, they're piecemealing Stadia. Isn't that wonderful? All right. Well, in looking at that, some of you may say, well, MM2K, that's not enough. Okay, maybe someone misinterpreted that, but there's just too much going on with Stadia as far as what I've heard in the news. The IGNs and the GameSpot's been telling me all this stuff, and I believe them. So Stadia is closing up shop. Well, explain this to me. Riddle me this. That after this very same job that had this job description in there, right after that was released to the public for someone to sign up for that job or interview for it, Stadia had a keynote where they talked to the contrary to all this doom and gloom. Let me show you some more slides. This is slide number 1 from that keynote that occurred July 13th. Again, remember, the job description went out June 30th. July 13th, Stadia had a keynote where they talked about bringing more dev tools to the devs and the publishers to make it easier to develop for Stadia. They're allowing Stadia's Linux-based tool set to work better with DX12. So there's not this crazy work that you got to do as far as converting things over and data over from the engines that you're using, right? And then they talked about partnerships and deals and incentives that they're running through 2023. Let me show you the first example of this. Affiliate marketing program that is to entice people to put more games in Stadia Pro, Stadia's direct subscription service that works like PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live with Gold. They have a new affiliate marketing program that isn't starting until 2022. How are you starting something in 2022, but in the next few months you're looking to close shop? Stop it. Next slide. The new incentive revenue, or revenue share rather, when it comes, well, I don't want to say revenue share, but it's the new split as it comes to the sales of games, DLC, things of that nature. It was rumored to be 70-30 from Google, anything in relation to Google. We don't know that for an exact, but it was more going towards Google than what this is. This is a direct 85-15 split, as it reads here, 85-15 split for the first $3 million in Stadia revenue for titles launching between October 1st and the end of 2023. Hold on. How are you making these deals up until 2023 if you're planning to close sometime at the end of 2021 or early 2022, right? But that's not enough. Okay, well, here goes another slide. More of the pie with the transactions. It's talking about the same thing. However, this slide tells you that, hey, if this initiative is successful, then they're going to run it through at least 2023, meaning that it could go further beyond 2023. You don't be making plans for 2 years and so on out if you're looking to close shop, if you're looking to piecemeal Stadia, as some unreputable, yes, I said it, unreputable publication said. Stop it. All right? But with all that being said, even the naysayers had to give up on the rhetoric. This is an excerpt from GameIndustry.biz, and GameIndustry.biz had to admit, they said, look, after this keynote, the continued promotion of these features that we talked about, and there was a whole lot more, all right? Look for that keynote and check it out. The new wave of incentives to get more developers on board as pro members, and that 85-15 revenue share lasting until 2023, really in 2023 and possibly beyond, suggests that the perceived inevitable failure of Stadia might not be as imminent as some people think. That's from GameIndustry.biz, one of the biggest naysayers towards Stadia. So maybe if they can give it up, maybe you should give it up. All right. With that said, myth number one, busted. Myth number two, Phil Harrison and company at Stadia wants to take out consoles. Let me show you the next slide. Okay, this is an interview from Richard Ledbetter of Eurogamer, Phil Harrison and Maj Bakar of Google Stadia. This is from March 21st, 2019. All right. And it talks about what they're looking to accomplish with Stadia, what actually Stadia is and all this other stuff. It's a very interesting read. And instead of listening to the IGNs and the Kotakus and the GameSpots, I urge you to read this to get a better understanding of what they're trying to do with Google Stadia. It might blow your mind. But let's go to one particular part in question where they answer just that was asked by Richard Ledbetter. Richard asked Phil Harrison, head of Stadia, do you think with local gaming and the traditional console model, this is the beginning of the end? Listen to Phil's answer. It might surprise you. It's not for me to say. I mean, I think there's a new way to develop games and a new way to discover games and a new way to enjoy games because of Stadia. We have a significant aspirations for the future and we want to get a very substantial scale. It's not going to happen overnight. And we're completely respectful of everything that has come before us in the industry that's got us to this point. We want the whole industry to be successful and we want the whole industry to grow. Does that sound like somebody that's trying to get rid of your console or your PC? No, but I got even more. There is this from Jack Buser. He's the head of games over at Google Stadia. And what Jack Buser says will blow your mind even more. This is around the same time. And Jack Buser says, look, in response to a question of how do you get people to abandon their catalog of PlayStation games and Xbox games to come over to Stadia at Stadia's launch. And he basically said, that's not what we're looking to do, baby. Pump your brakes. So to answer that, he says, and I highlighted the most important part, which I'll read now. The same device that you're using certainly has better and more rich game experience. He's talking about the consoles and the hardware that you have all together. We got some great things to offer with Stadia out of the box, but come on, overall, we know this. We know this is a building game. It's going to take us some time. When you look at the established platforms, the PlayStations, the Xboxes, the Switches, or Nintendos, the PCs, they got more to offer in totality, all right, to the average gamer. That will take time to play out, he continues, because gamers will have to realize, oh my gosh, Stadia has improved so much from years ago. I can't believe I'm using the same screen. That's the third piece there. Again, talks to, look, we weren't looking out of the gate to get rid of consoles or hardware, all that other stuff. We're looking to be a complement to that. But even as far as our Apex, what we have to offer, we know it's going to take time. We got to build the AI and the machine learning to even be a 1v1 match for dedicated devices. That takes input and that takes time. Okay, so out the gate, we got something to offer to our target demo. They spoke to the target demo being tech enthusiasts and casuals who feel like, you know what, I'm having a hard time finding a PlayStation 5. I had a PlayStation 4. I want to upgrade from that or from the Xbox One. I'm having a hard time finding an Xbox Series. Let me check out this Stadia thing. I can play some Resident Evil, play a lot of the latest coming and great multi-plat games on there. Let me give this thing a shot. That's their target demo, those and tech enthusiasts. So if being that that's your target demo out of the batch, that doesn't include so many gamers, okay? So there's no way, and they illustrate this several months even before launch, that was not their goal, okay? So as far as Stadia wanting to take out consoles, myth number 2 busted. All right, let's continue on. Myth number 3, Stadia wanted to make a swift impact, meaning out of the gate, they wanted to take over the game. This is one of the most sad ones altogether because I'm showing you material. What I just showed you from Jack Buser was one point, and what I've also told you or showed you from the Maj Bakar Phil Harrison interview, they talk about this. This is not going to happen overnight. But here's one of the biggest reasons why what you're hearing from a lot of these publications is a lot of hogwash. This is an article from NASDAQ, not Johnny and them Chicken Shack. This is NASDAQ, them peoples, right? They have an article about what cloud gaming is now and what a potential could be in the future. Another very important read. A lot of stuff I know you guys haven't seen, but you need to check up on it. Again, drop the game spots when it comes to cloud gaming. Drop the IGNs. They're misleading you. They're taking you down the wrong path. All right, but there's one part in particular that NASDAQ brings up that is very relevant here in regards to them talking about cloud gaming and what its potentials are. First and foremost, this particular part I'm really engaged in. They tell you here in this section that cloud gaming global projections for 2021 are 189 billion. And before I go any further, I want to remind folks that this is NASDAQ. Analysts that work for NASDAQ. There's a bunch of other analysts that have very similar projections that have these very similar numbers to what I'm about to read to you. Keep in mind that these same analyst projections is what's leading the decisions by these Fortune 500 companies to even get into this and for them to move slow because at this moment, cloud gaming has a low ceiling. Listen to this. Now, global gaming, all of gaming, again, 189 billion in revenues is what they project in 2021. 2025, they project 257 billion just about. Okay? That's global gaming. That's not cloud gaming, just global gaming. But what about cloud gaming, right? The thing that's everybody think is going to take over, right? Well, it's estimated that in 2021, the same year that is estimated that global gaming is going to be 189 billion, cloud gaming is only going to exceed 1 billion. What? And 2 years after, it's projected that the global gaming market is going to reach 257 billion. In 2027, cloud gaming just reaches 7.24 billion. Does that sound like the thing that's coming to take over and eat all your consoles and rob the villages of the babies overnight? No! But again, these are all the projections that these cloud platform holders have. So where did this crazy rumor come from? The same stupid media that you keep listening to instead of kicking the tires your damn self. But I digress. I'm not angry, trust me. Stupidity, I guess, is allowed every now and again for each one of us. I've fallen victim to it every blue moon myself. Anyway, so there you have it, folks. Cloud gaming was never meant to be the thing that as soon as you unravel it in 2020, 2021, it was going to take over gaming. Some of you might ask, well, what is the point of cloud gaming, MM2K? Well, again, they got to build that AI. They got to build the machine learning. So they got to offer something in order to build that. You people got to play it in order for the AI, the machine learning to be built. And it has to be built at massive scales so it can be a fathomable alternative for the average gamer to dedicated device gaming. Let me give you an example. At GDC 2019, Google announced that off of the 24,000 hours of gameplay that it got off of Assassin's Creed Odyssey when during the Project Stream beta, that they used that 24,000 hours to turn Stadia from simply a 1080p 60 platform to a 4K 60 platform. That's massive. So if you take that 24,000 hours and you multiply it by how many more people are on Stadia retail now, how many more games are playing right now, you really have a massive, massive platform that really has a lot of capabilities with it. Why not take the hood off of that right now? Because the analysts are telling you that the public's trust towards cloud gaming right now is not there yet. So you continue to build, you continue to make deals, you continue to get games. Once that all changes, like how the public's trust towards digital games and DRM had to change, now we're buying PlayStation 5 digitals out of the wazoo, when just several years before it was hell no, we won't go without our CD bay. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take some time here to win over the public's trust. That's the final part, as Jack Buser said in another slide. All right. So why is the public lying? Why is the media lying to you about this? Why? It all makes sense now, right? Like, we get it now, MM2K, why you like cloud gaming. It may or may not be for me. I may or may not try it out now, but it ain't just this crazy thing that we got to keep beating down every 5 seconds now, right? So why hasn't the media projected this? Well, simply put, there is some blame for Google. Google is not unblameable in this, okay? Google isn't the most communicative company out there. Normally when they create a product, they put it out there and they do this thing called grassroots marketing where they let the fans of said product do all the talking. They go about and they develop the next thing, right? Well, that doesn't bode well in gaming. In gaming, you have got to have a lot of attention. You got to do a lot of fan service and things like that. And this is something that Google is learning. They've gone a long way in their lines of communication, their community support, all this stuff than they had just a year ago. And now they're even getting better at addressing myths and lies. It's gotten to the point now to where you're seeing less and less articles about Stadia, not because nobody's playing it. The platform grew 200% in a 12-month span. You're seeing less and less articles now because the media just can't lie about it the way that they used to. Because Stadia is going to check them if the growing community doesn't check them, right? But that is part of the problem, is that their inability to communicate in the fashion that the average platform communicates. Even though you have a low ceiling right now, it's always good to be open and transparent and communicate often. Something that they're learning, something they're definitely getting better at. But more importantly, people just didn't do their research. I guarantee that for the overwhelming majority of you that are watching this, over 90% of y'all never seen any of the stuff that I put out here. Never, ever. I guarantee it. And lastly, The pundits have a misguided fear of cloud gaming. They think that it's going to admonish their perks with steady device gaming, things like swag and, joysticks and stuff like that and screen. They think if Google is successful, that stuff is going away. Even though Phil Harrison and company tell you that this is just going to be an additional way to game. Dedicated devices are not going anywhere, anytime, any soon, all right? And to summarize that, to tell you or show you rather the effects of all that bibble babble has on a general gamer, I want you to read this, our final exhibit. This is something that somebody put in the Stadia Reddit, and it tickled me fancy until I really thought about it and thought about how sad it was. Bad for the gaming industry, they say. I really hope people wise up after the giddy excitement of playing a stream game while you're on the toilet at the airport at the airport wears off. If you don't see how paying an endless subscription fee, which is not the case with Stadia, you have Stadia for free, you can just buy your games a la carte, then paying to rent because you don't own no matter how you try to spend it, but you actually don't own any games, but that's a whole nother video. And stream individual games is an absolute catastrophe for the entire gaming industry. Please do us all a favor and educate yourselves, they say. Stadia is not about fun, it's about greed and control, period. If you're fooled by the rhetoric and the promises, you're just another sheep and just as stupid as mega wealthy corporate CEOs think you are. If you're one of those people who thinks this garbage is like Steam or whatever else, you obviously don't understand how those platforms work, but digital copies of games are also an issue themselves, so that's the issue for another day. So there you have it, folks. The end result of all of the media hate, all of the media misinformation, and quite frankly, lies. That's how you turn a gamer's brain to mush, with all that rhetoric and all that silly stuff. But again, do your research. We'll have links here. Follow us at Stadia Dosage. Follow other cloud platform gaming critics and things of that nature. All of them don't love Stadia, A lot of us do, and I would say really most of us do, but everybody doesn't love Stadia. You'll get different takes and different ideas of the platform, but please, whatever you do, don't go to the mainstream media. They are totally lost. They totally have an agenda in this regards. But hopefully, by us putting all the facts out there, this all makes sense to you. And with that said, that's it from your boy MM2K. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below, because like I always say, who cares what I think? But if you did like what I had to say, check out the links below to follow me. Those links will lead you to the Broadband Bullies, PNTS Network, Hard Knock Digital Culture, and yes, the Stadia Dosage. With all that said, peace. Have a wonderful gaming day.